Hi, I'm Jeanne Kelly, author of the 90-Day Credit Challenge and Credit Makeover. I've been in the credit industry for over 20 years, so thank you for joining me. This is not a credit webinar. This is really a conversation. And it's a conversation because I get asked all the time about my career path and what do I do and how did I do it? So I wanted to have this conversation with you and let you know a little bit more about me. Now, some of you know my story, but for those that don't, just give me a few minutes here to explain. And this is unscripted. This is truly coming from my heart, conversation, because I keep getting asked a lot lately. So I wanted to do this and without my team, just talking to you on this recording to share. So let me just say that at 21, I got married. At 25, I had my daughter. At 26, I was separated. And I didn't know what to do. So now I'm a single mom, no college education, and broker than broke. Because, if you follow me, I'm a big fan of Damon John. I love the book, The Power of Broke, but I was broker than that. I was broker than that because I was in the red because I had bad credit. And so at that time, I couldn't even rent a place. So when I had to leave my house, thank goodness I had my parents, right? So many of us have someone to go because no one would have rented to me. My credit was that bad. And I didn't know what to do about it. And when I say I moved into my parents' farm cottage, there was a cottage on the property, but it was a summer cottage. And I moved in the winter. And I would have the ice on the inside of the windows. That's how freezing it was. So the ice was so cold. I can still remember chipping away thinking, I cannot believe this, I'm freezing, but I have a roof over my head. The pipes would freeze, but I have a roof over my head. And I was grateful. But I also didn't want to continue always living like that. I worked as a waitress and I really, when you're a waitress, it's a great place to work because everyone's happy when they go out, right? So I was a banquet waitress, so it was mostly weddings and everyone was just so joyful and it was a great place to work. But still, when you're in the red, you know how hard it is to get out of it. And waitressing, it was hard. And I remember when I was waitressing, I was so broke that my car, the windshield wipers didn't work. And when I had to sit in the car after a long shift and I couldn't get home to my baby because I couldn't see, I couldn't drive. And I felt like crap. I can't even explain how I couldn't believe sitting in that car that this was my life. That no matter how hard I worked, I'm trapped because it's raining and I can't afford to fix the windshield wipers. And one day I did find out, a coworker said, "Why do you sit in the rain? And what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, my windshield wipers don't work." And he took me down the street to Stewart's and we got Rain-X. I never knew about it before. And I will tell you, no, not during horrible New York rainstorms, but when it just drizzled, I could drive because that Rain-X, boy, I loved it. So, I saw hope, right? Just believe it or not, something as simple as that, a friend sharing that information with me, it was changing. And, then I'm sitting one day, and this is where people will sometimes say, where was that rock bottom? I mean, there were so many. I mean, I'm just sharing a few, but this one, when I was sitting or at my home, and the cottage was really one room, right? So it was your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen. I mean, it was just one room. And my daughter's on the daybed swinging her feet and knock, knock, knock on the door. And it was the electric man. And the cottage was all electric heat, electric lights, everything. And he was going to turn off my electric because I didn't pay the bill. And I didn't have the money to pay the bill. That's why the bill wasn't being paid. Nobody wants to not pay bills. We want to pay bills. But I was in dire straits. And so he came in and he sees that I actually had my uniform on for work, my white top, my black skirt, right? And he sees my daughter and he's like, and it was a Friday. And he's like, "Are you a waitress?" I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Do you think you'd be able to pay this by Monday? I'm supposed to turn it off today. You're this much behind." I'm like, it was a lot of money, whatever it was. I was like, "I think I can." And he's like, "Listen, I'm going to give you to Monday." There was a gate on the front of our property. It was always open. It was a farm, and the animals were on the other side where obviously the gate was locked, but the other part of the driveway, we had the gate open, and only when the animals came on that side, we'd close it anyway. But he said, "Because you have the gate, I'll just write down that, and thank God for this man. I'll just write down the gate was closed and I'll come, I don't want to come back. Pay the bill." So that weekend, I worked so hard and I was able to pay the bill on Monday. I remember shaking, going to the store, because here in New York, we had to go to a store to pay it like a Western Union, but they took it for the electric company. And I just remember that was rock bottom, seeing my daughter swinging her feet, looking at me, not knowing who this person was, and knowing that our power could have been turned off. I mean, I've got a car that's, thank God, working, but without windshield wipers. I'm in the red. I had to get my life together. I had to say, there's got to be more. I cannot keep feeling like I can't support my child. And really, that was my why. You know how everybody keeps talking about their why? My why was looking at my daughter and saying, I'm going to show her that you can make it, and that we don't have to live freezing. We don't have to live that. My boss, who was so amazing, say, here's a box, grab some food out of the fridge on a Tuesday when I would answer the phones for them for extra money, and do the salt and pepper shakers, fill up the creamers. I did anything to grab extra hours and make more money. But then I started thinking, what's my way out? And my way out was to solve the problem that I was solving for myself, and that was fixing my credit. And, it was a challenge. And when you're fixing your credit, a lot of times you're making mistakes because you think it's something right, and then you realize it's not. So let me just share that with you, that sometimes in this nowadays, Google is not always the right answer, right? So be very careful about that. But that's why maybe you're here, that you follow me. I put out content that is going to give you information in the moment. So that's what I decided I was going to start sharing with the world, because I figured it out. No tricks and, things that weren't going to last. I wanted a solid foundation with my credit. I wanted to keep building it. And that's why I always say healthy credit. That makes sense, because I've been there. I know what it's like, and it never ends. Your credit lifestyle never ends. So even when you build it, you've got to maintain that to continue, because, life isn't we don't always have everything perfect. Sometimes you think you're on that path and you have the, perfect job and everything's great. Now you worked on your credit and everything's great. And then something still could happen. So that's why the knowledge of credit and knowing during bad times, how do I navigate this? And that's a goal of mine, to make sure you always know that. So now, what do? I started my company. And yes, it was challenging. I wish I knew about the opportunity that I'm going to share with you today. I wish I knew about that 20 years ago, because it wasn't around. I just didn't know. And the reason why I say this is, a lot of us want to stay in our jobs and just start something on the side to give ourselves something else. And many of you might not have a job right now, and you're looking for an answer. And this can be an absolutely amazing platform to be full-time. So I'm talking to everybody. So I was introduced because, again, being a credit expert, I needed ID protection for my clients. And I needed to be with the number one company because I kept being asked. And when I'm asked something over and over, I find solutions. So I wanted to make sure that I attach my name to the best company to protect your identity. And I did that. And so the company is called Legal Shield. Have you ever heard of it? Because many do, and a lot do not know what this means. So let me tell you, Legal Shield's been around since 1972. So we have a company that has been around a long time. But the beautiful thing is, because of technology, this is our best real estate, don't you think? Is it in our hands all the time? It's actually too much, right? But now we have apps. So from the palm of your hands, you have access to ID protection, which is what got me involved, and also legal protection, which has gotten my heart involved. And I say that because I have seen and I have heard so many stories about horrible situations where a lawyer is your last resort instead of being your first resort. See, when you have access for a cheap plan, and I say cheap because this is my conversation with you, it's $25 a month. I'm not saying that $25, because when I was poor, that was a tank of gas, okay? Well, or half a tank. But what I'm saying is it was still something I could figure out. So for $25 a month, I wasn't going to be taking advantage of when I wanted to sign a lease, but I wanted to make sure that I was signing something correct, or take on a job opportunity and looking at that opportunity, you're just so excited that maybe you'll sign something that really you shouldn't sign. But when we don't have money, who can afford possibly attorney charging $200, $300, $400, whatever it may be an hour? But for $25 a month, we can afford it. When you get a speeding ticket and maybe points can go on your license, wouldn't it be great to have an attorney because of $25 a month? I know personally, I had a contract come in, and immediately, because I had the plan, I sent it over to the law firm, and they checked on it and said, you shouldn't sign it. This needs to be amended. When I went back to the company, and I don't think they did it on purpose, I have no idea. But when I said, my lawyer said, this has to be changed, this has to be changed. And they said, you had your lawyer look at this? Yes, I did. The power of that felt good. So to have a lawyer in your back pocket, to be able to 365 days a year, 24/7, have a lawyer for an emergency, because I'll have a lot of people say to me, well, my brother's a lawyer, my friend's a lawyer, I have a lawyer. Is your lawyer going to answer the phone at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday? If there's an emergency? I mean, maybe if it's your brother, but I am just saying that power is great. And I wanted to share that with you because I think a lot of us don't know. And let me just explain by sharing this, because this is a business conversation that I'm having with you. To get involved, let's think about this. Let's think about some changes. Before Uber, right? Think about before Uber. I know when someone told me about Uber, because I'd be in Manhattan, raise my hand, get in a taxi. I'm not doing that now. I'm going to use Uber. It simplified my life. A friend shared it with me. I'm thinking about other things. Let's think of a change. Let's think about now, if you're my age, when we used to have to go to get a movie at a store and rent it, right? Blockbuster Video. Now we have Netflix. So technology and life has changed things. We definitely know about change. Think about during this crisis time in our lives. Did we use Zoom as much as we do now? How many people have been tapping on to buy Amazon and make it so convenient? What's another company? Peloton, my bike. Okay, I got one. I fell for it. I'm like, let me get the bike. Let me have some exercise during this time and being in my home. There's always new inventions, but sometimes we find out about them that we wish we heard about them sooner to profit from them. And that's what I'm sharing with you today, that opportunity to share the information regarding the legal plans, to share the information regarding the ID protection. If you do that, you can be paid. This is a side business, or it could be a full-time business, but it would be your own company. Yes, you can get involved. And are you ready? I'm sure that you may think to open up your business, it could cost thousands of dollars. I have seen businesses with kits and uniforms, this and that products to have cost a substantial amount to get involved. I'm asking you to get involved for $100 and then to have the plans as well. So basically think of maybe less than $100 a month to own a business, to have a website, to have a CRM system to help you keep on track, to have a mentor like myself keep you going, and beyond what I would pay, what as a small business owner I would pay for the training that we get is amazing. The sky is the limit. The bet of the $100 is on yourself. And I am right now, and that is why I'm doing this conversation and having this, one-on-one to say, I'm investing my time right now on you and on this project, because I do think the time is now. And I would love to work with you. I'd love to hear about your goals, your family, your dreams. But guess what? It doesn't have to be a dream. You can make it happen. I have made it happen, and I am continuing to grow, because one thing about this opportunity, besides sharing it and sharing it once, imagine going to your job. You do a job, you get paid once. But that's not how residual income works and passive income, if you hear about that. When you look at business mentors getting wealthier and wealthier, it's because they found a tool that's passive income. It's kind of like insurance. You may see your insurance broker once and sign up. Maybe when you just get that car, right? I want this, I want that. But that person makes money then. But do you think that's it? No, every year you have the insurance. That insurance person gets paid over and over and over and over again. And same with this. You share this information and the person keeps the membership, which we do. We love it, right? Then every year you get paid. You are building a book of business. And this is something that can build you wealth. We dive so much into what residual income is. I am blessed to be on the #1 earners team for Legal Shield, Mr. Brian Carruthers. And so that means you would be as well. And I would love to be on this journey with you. So if you want to see a Legal Shield presentation, it's right on my app. I can send it to you. I choose to do things like this. I choose to not do the presentations. You know why? They're done for me, and they're done beautifully. I want to have the conversation. I want to talk to you and see, what do you want and how can I help you with a game plan? I'm all about building success with you. So if you'd like to join my team, all you have to do is sign up. The information is included. If you need more information, you want to see a presentation, let me know. I can send you that information. But your time is now. And I thank you for spending this time with me. We'll get to know each other with the conversations. They will continue. And I can't wait to begin your plan of success and write that out with you and change some lives. Thank you.